Hi, good evening, and I'd like to welcome you back to Poem Praise 2 and Peace be upon you. We are now right back in the lies my teacher told me. We're still in the intro, so let's go ahead and get it started. We're on take number 4, and it goes like this. High school students hate history. When they list their favorite subject, history invariably becomes last. Students consider history the most irrelevant of 21 subjects commonly taught in high school. Boring is the adjective they apply to it. When students can, they avoid it. Even though most students get higher grades in history than in math, science, or English, even when they are forced to take classes in history, they repress what they learn. So every year or two, another study decries what our 17-year-olds don't know. Even male children of affluent white families think that history, as taught in high school, is too neat and rosy. African American, Native American, and Latino students view history with a special dislike. They also learn history especially poorly. Students of color do only, slightly worse than white students in mathematics. If you'll pardon my grammar, non-white students do more worse in English and most worst in history. Sometimes intriguing is going on here. Surely history is not more difficult for minorities than trigonometry or Faulkner. Students don't even know they are alienated, only that they don't like social studies or aren't any good at history. In college, most students of color give history departments a wide berth. Many history teachers perceive the low morale in their classrooms. If they have a lot of time, like domestic responsibilities, sufficient resources, and a flexible principal, some teachers respond by abandoning the overstuffed textbooks and reinventing their American history courses. All too many teachers grow disheartened and settle for less, at least dimly aware that their students are not requiting their own love of history. These teachers withdraw some of their energy from their courses. Gradually, they end up going through the motions, staying ahead of their students in the textbooks, covering only material that will appear on the next test. College teachers in most disciplines are happy when their students have had significant exposure to the subject before college. Not teachers in history. History professors in college routinely put down high school history courses. A colleague of mine calls his survey of American history iconoclasm or icon, iconoclasm. I'm going to spell it for you because I believe I said that wrong. But ICONOCLASM 1 and 2. Because he sees his job as a disabusing his charges of what they learned in high school to make room for more accurate information. In no other field does this happen. Mathematic professors, for instance, know that non-Euclidean, Euclidean, geometry is rarely taught in high school. But they don't assume that Euclidean geometry was mistaught. Professors of English literature don't presume that Romeo and Juliet was misunderstood in high school. Indeed, history is the only field in which the more courses students take, the stupider they become. Perhaps I do not need to convince you that American history is important. More than any other topic, it is about us. Whether one dream or present society, wondrous or awful, or both, history reveals how we arrived at this point. Understanding our past is central to our ability to understanding ourselves and the world around us. We need to know our history. And according to sociologist C. Wright Mills, we know we do. Outside of school, Americans show great interest in history. Historical novels, whether by Gore Vidal, Lincoln Burr, ETAL in parentheses, or Dana Fuller-Ross in parentheses, Idaho, Utah, Nebraska, Oregon, Missouri, and on, often become bestsellers. The National Museum of American History is one of the three big draws of the Smithsonian Institution. The series, The Civil War, attracted new audiences to public television. Movies based on historical incidents on themes are a continuing source of fascination from Birth of a Nation through Gone with the Wind to Dancing with Wolves, JFK, and Saving Private Ryan. Not history itself, but traditional American history courses turn students off. Our situation is this. American history is full of fantastic and important stories. These stories have the power to spellbind audiences, even audiences of difficult seventh graders. These same stories show what America has been about and are directly relevant to our present society. American audiences, even young ones, need and want to know about their national past. Yet they sleep through the classes that present it. What has gone wrong? We begin to get a handle on this question by noting that textbooks dominate American history courses more than they do any other subject. When I first came across the finding in the educational research literature, I was dumbfounded. I would have guessed among anything else, plain geometry, for instance. After all, it would be hard for students to interview elderly residents of their community about plane geometry, or to learn about it from library books or old newspaper files, or the thousands of photographs and documents at the Library of Congress website. All these resources and more are relevant to American history. Yet it is in history classrooms, not geometry, where students spend more time reading from their textbooks, answering the 55 boring questions at the end of each chapter, going over those answers aloud, and so on. Between the glossy covers, American history textbooks are full of information, overly full. These books are huge. These specimens in my original collection of dozens of the most popular textbooks average 4.5 pounds in weight. So they was kind of heavy too. And 888 pages in length. To my astonishment, during the last 12 years, they grew even larger. In 2006, I surveyed 6 new books. Owing a publisher consolidation, there no longer are 12. There are 3 are new editions of legacy textbooks, descended from books originally published half a century ago. 3 are new books. These 6 books average 1,150 pages and almost 6 pounds. I never imagined they would get bigger. I had hoped that the profusion of resources on the web will make it obvious that these behemoths are obsolete. The web did not exist when the earlier batch of textbooks came into being. In those days, for history textbooks to be huge made some sense. Students in Boogie Cheeto, Mississippi, say, or Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, had few resources in American history other than their textbooks. No longer today. Every school that has a phone line is connected to the web. These students can browse hundreds of thousands of primary sources, including newspaper articles, the census, historic photographs, and original documents, as well as secondary interpretations from scholars, citizens, other students, and rascals and liars. No longer is there any need to supply students with 9 months reading between the covers of one book, written or collected by a single set of authors. These books are so huge that they may endanger their readers. Each of the 1,104 pages in the American Journal is wider and taller than any page in the 12 already enormous high school textbooks in my original sample. Surely at 5.6 pounds, Journey is the heaviest book ever assigned to middle school students in the history of American education. At more than $84, it may also be the most expensive. A new nonprofit organization, Backpack Safety America, has formed, spurred by chiropractors and often healthcare professionals. It is a mission to reduce the weight of textbooks and backpacks. In the meantime, pending that accomplishment, chiropractors are visiting schools, teaching proper posture and lifting techniques. That's going to complete this take, but my. Book got bigger and got heavier, and now we're going in there. The kids having problems with their backs. What you trying to do? With the books. Really? Okay. That was my little ad bit, little tidbit. Peace upon you. Peace out.